Lord, thank you for this day, for the presence of everyone in this call. For once again, we are gathered and given the opportunity to appreciate life and your words. Forgive us for our shortcomings and cleanse our hearts as we learn and live your words and example. Father, bless our endeavors, especially today's meeting. May you guide us in our discussions, and may you enlighten our minds in every decision that we make. Give us your grace that we may effectively do our parts for your greater glory. All this we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, helas ng sinangalan, alam ng puso, sa dikit mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong panggaw, ay hinatang tulad, awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang islang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na naghihingi, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pang ay di magtitingin. Luman ang araw ng walhaging pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya ng pagkaibang akin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
The following program is rated G. It is suitable for all audiences.
Hello Philippines and hello world! I am Lady Micaela David,
And I'm Alisar Ventura.
your news anchor for today, and you are watching.
This News Today, your #1 global news TV. Hot news on globalization will be brought to you by Lady David. Lady,
Thank you, Algie. A significant shift in our world is seen over the past 3 decades towards a more integrated and interdependent world economy. The world is now becoming more open into decreasing barriers of transactions and communications. Every country has been more open to progressive development in terms of political, social, legal, and economical integration with other countries through the use of the advanced technologies and global competitiveness. This shift is called globalization. Globalization is a term used in the 1980s to describe the movement of goods, services, and capital across borders, and throughout the passing of time, it also referred to the movement of people and knowledge across international borders. This opened numerous opportunities for both advanced and developing countries to further expand its economy into the global market. Globalization has several facets that includes the globalization of markets and the globalization of production. Due to the falling barriers of the cross-border trades, distinct separate national markets are now merging into one huge global market. This made selling for both huge and small businesses easier, and with the development of a global norm between the different tastes and preference of people all over the globe, businesses are now creating standard products to offer to the global market. Some examples of these businesses are Coca-Cola, Starbucks, IKEA, McDonald's, and Sony PlayStation. Globalization of markets are also open on small business importers that caters to the needs of the general public. Aside from the increase in international transactions, it also opened numerous jobs for people around the globe. Businesses that offer standardized products are not just benefactors, but are also facilitators in making the global market norm. Though, this may seem to make a uniform market, the difference between the national and the global market still exists, and companies that offers products to the global market still struggles to outrank their competitors by employing unique and efficient business strategies. With the opening of the global market, businesses are now on the lookout to take advantage of the differences in the production costs and time. They are now sourcing materials and factors of production such as labor, energy, land, and capital all over the globe in the hopes of finding a good deal, which will make their production costs much lower without getting lesser in the quality. This strategy will allow them to be more engaged in the global market competition. To give you a better picture, look at the Boeing 777, a commercial jetliner that imports almost 65% of its parts from foreign countries like Japan and Singapore, because according to the company, these countries are the best in their job, and this also gives them the opportunity to increase their sales on the said foreign countries. With the increasing business transactions across borders, the global market has opened several global institutions to help manage, regulate, and police the global business systems through multinational treaties. These global institutions are General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade or GATT, World Trade Organization or WTO, International Monetary Fund or IMF, World Bank, and the United Nations. That's it. Back to you, Algie.
Thank you, Lady. And to give us update on globalizing business, here's Sheena Boreros.
Thank you, Algie. Globalizing business. Globalizing business deals with the integration of different markets and the changing environments of organization. It addresses how businesses may be competitive and socially responsible while seeking opportunities to internationalize in a globalizing economy. Here are some important terms that we need to remember in globalizing business. Global business. A global business is a company that operates facilities such as factories and distribution centers in many countries around the world. Next is international business. International business refers to the trade of goods, services, technology, capital, knowledge across national borders or transnational scale. Global businesses have branches and offices in many countries, whereas international business, its facilities and headquarters can only be found at its home country or in the country of origin. Multinational enterprise or also known as multinational corporation is an enterprise or corporation producing goods or delivering services in more than one country. It engages in foreign direct investment or what we call FDI. It has its management headquarters in one or rarely more than one country or the home country, while also operating in other countries or what we call the host countries. Foreign direct investment or FDI is an investment from a party in one country into a business or corporation in another country with the intention of establishing a lasting interest. FDI may include mergers, acquisitions, or partnership in retail, services, logistics, or manufacturing. Emerging economies or emerging market is a term that refers to an economy that experiences considerable economic growth and possesses some, but not all characteristics of a developed economy. Triad refers to the three centers dominating the world economy until the late 1990s, the North America, Western Europe, and Japan. BRIC or the Brazil, Russia, India, and China, a developing nation that is believed to be future dominant suppliers of manufactured goods, services, and raw materials by the year 2050. As of 2010, South Africa joined the group, which is now referred to as BRICS. EAGLE or the Emerging and Growth Leading Economies are a grouping of key emerging markets that are expected to lead global growth in the next 10 years. and provide important opportunities for investors. Measuring economic growth, we have here GDP, GNP, and GDP, or the gross domestic product, is the total monetary value of all the finished goods and services produced within a country's borders in a specific time period. It functions as a comprehensive scorecard of a given country's economic health. GNP, or the gross national product, is the total value of all finished goods and services produced by a country's citizen in a given financial year, irrespective of their location. It also measures the output generated by a country's businesses located domestically or abroad. Lastly, PPP, or the purchasing power parity, is a metric used by macroeconomic analysts that compares economic productivity and standards of living between the countries. Back to you, Algie.
Thank you, Sheena. On the other side of the globe, here is Erica De Jos to feed us news about the European and global business.
Thank you, Lady. A global business are the businesses or firms engaging in international economic activities. Just like in Europe, there is a group of 27 countries that operates as a cohesive economic and political bloc called as the European Union. The idea to make the European Union was when two big wars happened in Europe. Countries in Europe saw that it is better to work together than fight against each other. In the beginning, there are only 6 countries in Europe started working together. These are the Belgium, Germany, France, Italy, Luxembourg, and Netherlands. Soon, more and more countries in Europe joined them, and on November 1st, 1993, European Union was made. Today, 27 countries are part of the European Union. But the United Kingdom formally left the EU on 31st of January 2020, following on a public vote held in June 2016, due to the desire of the UK to regain its control over immigration and its own borders. The European Union plays an important role in the global business by selling many things and services to other countries. Also, it buys things from other countries. In this way, it helps the world economy keep going. The institutions of the European Union are the 7 principal decision-making bodies of the EU. The first one is European Council. It sets the main political agenda of EU, which brings together national and European leaders. Next, the political agenda has passed on to the European Commission. This is the main organization in EU that proposes new laws. There are 28 commissioners, and together with the President of European Commission, they will debate on which law they think should be passed. Once the commissioners have agreed on the law, it gets to the hand of the 2 other EU institutions, which are the European Parliament and the Council of the European Union. These are the only 2 institutions in EU that can adopt laws. The European Parliament is the second biggest parliament in the world and the only organization in EU where representatives are directly elected by European people every 5 years. Their most important task is to debate and vote on laws suggested by the Commissioner. But here's the catch. Even if the member of the European Parliament agreed on a law that it should be passed, they cannot do it alone. They do it together with the Council of the European Union. This is the institution where the governments of the EU member states have their opinion and defend their national interest. The European Court of Justice is comprised of 1 judge from each member of the EU. They make sure that countries and EU institutions abide by a law. There's also the European Central Bank. It is the central bank of the Eurozone, a monetary union of 19 EU member states which uses euro as their currency. European Central Bank is one of the world's most important central banks. And lastly, the European Court of Auditors. It was established in order to improve EU financial management. Between 2010 and 2020, the development of the EU's imports of goods by major trading partners varied considerably. Among the main trading partners, the highest average annual growth rate was recorded for imports from Turkey, which garnered 5.2%, and in China, 4.6%. The largest decreases were seen for imports from Russia, negative 4.8%, and in Norway, negative 2.9%, who were both large partners for imports of oil and gas. On the export side, between 2010 and 2020, imports of goods from China 6.8%, South Korea 5.9%, and the United States 5.7% had the highest average annual growth rate. Among the top partners, decreases for imports were only seen for Russia and Brazil, both negative 0.5%. Erica DeJoss, Biz News Today. Back to you guys.
And that's it for the 3 reports. We'll be back shortly with even hotter news after a few commercials.
Let me tell you how easy to pay your taxes correctly. Remember RFP. Register, file, and pay. Register if you want to own a business or practice with your license. You gotta find your RDO. It's the Revenue District Office. Now you know there you bring all the requirements for them to process your important documents. Then get your certificate of registration. Also pick up the ask for receipt notice and display them all in your place of business. Register your receipts and your books of accounts. In the future, every last one will count. It's as easy as RFP. Register, file, and pay. File. Rule number 1 for tax filing. Remember when the deadline is nearing. You gotta visit your RDO. When you ask, here's how you know. Percentage tax and VAT are monthly. VAT and income tax are quarterly. But wait, income tax is also annually. I suggest you keep a tax calendar handy. It's as easy as RFP. Register, file, and pay. Pay. Now you gotta head to your RDO or to an authorized agent bank you go. Here are the taxes that you need to know. First, income tax is 5 to 32%. You got it? The rate depends on your income bracket. Keep in mind your allowable deductions. Itemized or standard, those are your options. Second is expanded withholding tax. Third is VAT or percentage tax. Depending on your earnings, that's a fact. And lastly, registration fee when the year starts. It's as easy as RFP. Register, file, and pay. It ain't rocket science. Don't be afraid. Pay your taxes right and don't evade. Finish RFP and you got it made. Register, file, and pay.
We're back here in Business Today with a flash report about international business from Ana Hineta. Ana, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Algie. Why study international business? International business describes all of the commercial transactions that take place between different countries. It is important to study international business for different reasons. First, it gives international perspective of business. Studying international business offers something for every type of enterprise. Retail, finance, marketing, sales, and analytical jobs can benefit from the knowledge we will acquire from studying international business. Many businesses are operating on a global platform in today's world. That is why it is important to understand the global marketplace and how it pertains to businesses. Next, it develops management skills. Building a solid management skill base is essential when studying international business. Although each business area may have some unique skills necessary, some management skills are helpful across all business platforms. Essential management skills such as leadership, communication, organization, problem solving, and decision making are great benefits in entering the workforce. Another is that it widens employment opportunities. In studying international business, we begin to develop management, business, and multicultural skills. Employers find these skills useful and applicants who have them stand out compared to others who do not. Increased knowledge in international business can boost employability and may expand employment opportunities. And we also get to learn about other cultures. Learning about other cultures and taking part as a global citizen increases our understanding of people. Multinational corporations thrive on providing resources and solutions to people from a variety of cultural backgrounds. Being literate about cultural differences enables a person to function effectively. It improves the ability to negotiate and manage international operations. Last is that it establishes a business knowledge base. By studying international business, we can dive deep into understanding business concepts to prepare us to work in a global marketplace. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Anna. Now, to enlighten us more, here is Irish Lagarde for the Unified Framework. Irish, take it away!
Thank you, Lady. A unified framework. It is divided into two core perspectives, the institution-based view, the formal and informal rules of the game. The resource-based view, firm-specific resources and capabilities. The big question is, what determines the success and failure of the firm around the globe? To answer this question, let's focus on the two core perspectives, the institution-based view and the resources-based view. First, institutional perspective. Doing business around the globe requires the intimate knowledge about the formal and informal rules of doing business in various countries. Some formal rules, such as the requirement to treat domestic and foreign firms as equal, enhance the potential odds for foreign firm success. Informal rules such as cultures, norms, and values plays an equally important role in shaping the success and failure of firms around the globe. In short, an institution-based view suggests that the formal and informal rules of the game, known as institutions, shed light on what is behind firm performance around the globe. Let's proceed to research-based view. An institution-based view, which views performance as determined only by external environment, has its limitations. The resource-based view focuses on firms' internal resources and capabilities. Firms as Coca-Cola and Microsoft possess firm-specific resources that enable them to attain leadership around the globe. Hence, the primary weapon of foreign firms is overwhelming resources and capabilities that, after offsetting the liability of outsidership, still result in some significant competitive advantage. In this illustration, the liability of outsidership infers the more a firm's origin is different from a host country, the lesser the firm has experience to a host country, and farther away to its nearest prior affiliate. Back to you, Lady.
Thank you, Irish. Another existing news about globalization will be reported by Erica and Pascual. Erica?
Thank you, Algie. Understanding globalization. As you have already heard an overview of globalization, it's helpful to distinguish it from other concepts. First is globalization versus globalism. Globalism is always mistakenly used as another term for globalization, but it is an ideology founded on the notion that people, information, and goods should be able to unrestrictedly cross national borders. In contrast, globalization is a process that refers to the enhancement or declining of the degree of globalism. It involves increasing the interconnectedness amidst multiple individuals and regions throughout the world, or entails a large-scale dynamic that focuses on the speed of changes for developing a global market. The next one is globalization compared to regionalization. Globalization encourages economic integration across national borders all over the world. But regionalization does the opposite by dividing an area into smaller groups and only affects international integration resulting from the exchange of world use, products, ideas, and other factors. The concept of globalization has main dimensions, namely, the political dimension of globalization. It has to deal with the issues of terrorism, international organizations, state sovereignty, and justice. It considers how these processes raise an important set of political issues pertaining to the principle of state authority, the growing impact of intergovernmental organizations, and the future prospects for regional and global governance, global migration flows, and environmental policies affecting our planet. The cultural or social dimension of globalization. It includes the mass media, the social media, and social networking. It refers to the interpenetration of cultures which, as a consequence, means nations adopt principles, beliefs, and costumes of other nations, losing their unique culture to a globalized culture. The economic dimension of globalization. It opens up to us the concepts of transnational migration, capitalism, and free trade or market. Challenges of globalization from the Omnipresence website. Unequal economic growth. While globalization tends to increase economic growth for many countries, the growth isn't equal. Richer countries often benefit more than developing countries. Job loss. One of the most debated negative effects of globalization is the loss of jobs. This is particularly the case in developed countries, such as the US, where much unskilled labor and many services have been outsourced to developing countries. Many locals have lost their jobs or been forced to accept lesser wages and poorer working conditions as a result. Environmental degradation. Sadly, the environment also suffers as a negative effect of globalization. For instances, global transportation networks and increased market demand means more use of fuels, contributing to higher exertion of greenhouse gases. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Erica. To give us a glance about the global economy, here is Algie Sarventura. Algie?
Thank you, lady. Now let's take a look at the global economy. As shown in this figure, similar trends have been observed in international commerce in products. The volume of merchandise traded has been reverted to pre-pandemic levels. Cross-border trade in service remains subdued. The significant increase in international trade in the second half of the 2020 reflects pent-up demand for consumer durables such as cars in advanced economies, and the restart of supply chain in emerging markets. As to the next figure, which is employment and labor force participation, the labor market recovery is still incomplete with high unemployment and underemployment. Despite exceptional governmental assistance such as job retention program and wage subsidies, unemployment rates in advanced and emerging market and developing economies have grown roughly by 1.5 percentage point above pre-pandemic levels. Participation in the labor force has also decreased. And as we can see, there's still a long way to go to close the employment gap. Let's move to the next figure, which is about advanced economy, monetary and financial market condition. Despite recent turbulence, asset markets have outperformed labor and product markets, driven by policy support and prospect of vaccine-driven normalization later this year. Global education losses due to the COVID-19 pandemic is shown in this figure. Learning losses were most severe in low-income developing countries, which had a harder time coping with school closures. This is particularly true for girls and students in low-income households. Let's move to price inflation. Headline inflation, cyclical and non-cyclical contributions. Commodity prices, particularly oil, are projected to rise further in the coming months. Given the record low levels, further prices should mechanically lift consumer price indices and headline inflation, in particular, may become volatile in the coming months. According to Basin forecasts, inflation will eventually revert to its long-term average as remaining stock fades and commodity-driven base effects diminish. Next is trend inflation in advanced economies. Trend-mean inflation rates, which remove extreme price fluctuations from the price distribution every month to filter out underlying inflation and provide slow-moving, impartial estimate of price pressure, indicates that inflation pressure is falling rather than growing in advanced economies. Global commerce is expected to increase to 8.4% in 2021 as the recovery improves, owing mostly to a comeback in goods quantities. Cross-border services trade such as tourism and transportation is anticipated to remain sluggish until the pandemic is completely controlled. Pandemic-related travel restrictions and a widespread trend of traveling are likely to have long-term effects on income from exported services. current account and international investment position is shown in this figure. As you can see, global current account deficits and surpluses decreased early in the crisis, but expanded later as trade and commodity prices rose. Current account situations are projected to remain largely steady in the medium term, with a modest narrowing in the United States and China. International assets and liability stocks, on the other hand, are projected to remain historically high. And that's the latest information available for now. Back to the studio, and that's this news report for this Tuesday.
Thank you for watching. Again, we are the Group 1. Have a great day!